Yeah, because all the Lionel horns are the same. They all use these bicycle horns inside. So you got
Got a
coal, and there's ice, and classic cows, and classic horses, and milk. And I like the this guy. Oops, let me move it by hand. It's easier. The forklift. I think it's really great, and it's given me the least problems of a lot of the old accessories. Now, this crane has a story. That's the original crane, and it works fine. And then Lionel came out with a reproduction of that original crane. And when they came out with the reproduction, which is TMCC, they also came out with this little house. And this little house is rigged for the original crane, it's rigged to the new crane, so that when you push the button to go right, it makes the noise of going right and going left and up and down and so on. And I wanted that to happen on my original crane. So being a computer type as well, I got into Arduino computers. The machine we're talking about is this little box down here. And now on mine, when you push the buttons to make the crane work, it talks to you.
All right, let's get to work.
That's great.
And here she goes.
Whose voice is it?
Mike, we see you, but we don't hear you.
So it works just like the new modern TMCC, but it's working with the original crane.
I also see you have a white brakeman. My brakeman is blue.
Now, I didn't hear.
On the Wabash,
Oh. Yeah, you mentioned that. That's the guy who falls over when he hits the telltale.
Yeah, my guy is blue, not white.
That's this one.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Must
the
have-
man that falls over.
Must have been some
And
production
then
change
we have
somewhere
my
along the
child's
way.
favorite, which is the giraffe. That makes that's Whoopi the giraffe. That's the new one, and that's the original giraffe car back here.
Yep, recognize that
and
one.
of course, that's,
If
you know,
I get this
that's
thing
Jeffrey
going-
Giraffe.
Gotta have enough hands. Hang on a second.
Of course, the GG1 with the 2360 and the bicycle horn in the battery can cause an interesting problem. One Christmas morning when I think I was maybe 8 or 9 years old and my mom and dad were still asleep because it was way too early in the morning to be awake. And of course, I couldn't touch any of my wrapped presents, so I decided to play with the train, and I ran the GG1 off the tracks, and it ran into the base of the console record player in the living room and fell off the tracks. And apparently when it struck the console, something inside shorted out or whatever, but the horn went off and would not stop. So I had this blaring bicycle horn running off of the battery, and I had to carry the engine down the hallway into my parents' bedroom and wake them up with this loud, obnoxious bicycle horn because I couldn't make it stop.
So that's
How old were
one of
you?
the new TMCC. Well, it's not legacy, it's now old. But I don't go as far. That's it. TMCC is the end of it. But when Jeffrey goes around and he hits the pole here, of course, he goes, oh no, or if you wait long enough, he'll say, when we go on to York, and things like that. So that's the more or less the top layer. And then on this other side is my lower level. And the lower level has this purely mechanical trailers. And then this is what I consider new Lionel. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the idea, and I don't know how a kid could do this, the idea is to take the containers off of the car.
Now, are you doing all of this manipulation through the Avino? Or is this,
Am I going to do that? I could, but I'd have to have a whole bunch of sensors and so on. The only sensors in this thing is me looking at it, trying to figure out what it's doing.
oh, okay.
Oh, well, I got half of it because I can't see the other side. So I have no idea if it's clamped in the right place or not.
Well, sometimes
Well, I
that's a
think you
good
get the
effect, though.
idea.
You know, you can have the industrial accident kind of part of the run, you know, part of the setup.
Twice a day. So that I don't know how kids were ever expected to do that. Getting it off is hard enough. Getting it back on is even worse.
Oh, that just goes to show you they were never for kids. It was always for the parents.
Yeah, I guess so. You got the culverts, loader, unloader. That's the original.
Got the sawmill, I see.
The sawmill's down here.
Yep. And you've got the track there so that you can have your log unloader, I see, dump into the sawmill. So that's, I've got that mine set up that way too.
If everything works right, it comes out a board on the other side.
Yep.
These are barrels. There's a little guy that runs around. Lionel put this out, but it originally was an American Flyer, the original one. But you know, the difference between O gauge and S gauge, as far as Lionel and American Flyer was concerned, is not very much other than the difference in the track. You got the coal ramp and a loader.
Yep.
The dispatch station that talks. But over here, this is a reasonably new one. This is the engine cleaner. The things go round and round. You can and then you have to grind the wheels. I don't know if you can see that lighting up.
Yep.
There's actually a flint in there, like when you light a cigarette lighter, to give it that sparky look. It's not a bulb or anything. It's actually a splint and a flint. And it also pumps steam. There's a little steam generator there that is a smoke generator. Now, this one over here, you go back far enough, you know, you always put in smoke pellets, and then you put in liquid. And you had to do that by hand. If I get my thing here. You can do this by remote, and you bring the boom around, put it on top of the engine, and you press a button, and it'll drop the smoke fluid into the engine, and so you don't have to do it yourself. Now, the other thing that I put on this is a bunch of stuff from K-Line, because Lionel took over K-Line. So what you have here let's see if I can do this one-handed. You move the track. You see the track turning?
Yep.
Okay. Now wait a second. Line. D. And out comes the speeder. And then you turn it back. And off it goes.
I'm impressed.
Wow.
And when you're finished, you get it just in the right space, which is next to impossible. It's sort of in the right space. There you go. And then set the track space to the next train that comes through. That was a K-line or a Lionel K-line. Let's see.
So
Another K-line that became
Minute here,
Lionel
Mike.
K-line. If I can find the button.
can you hold?
Hmm?
Can you hold for a second? Since John's got to drop off in 10 minutes, how about we'll do a part 2 of the of your Wonderland here.
It's fine with me.
So John, what do you got to talk about today or show?
I have a gadget that I haven't added to my setup yet, and I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked into it. I'm wondering whether or not any of you guys have ever seen something that was manufactured by the Electro-Nuclear Device Corporation, and it's something called the Audio Engineer.
I have one of those and it's in the box because it doesn't work. So
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering about is like, so, you know, how is this silly thing supposed to work? Is it really just like a little momentary on-off switch that's just making the engine stop and back up and go forward, or?
that's what it appears to be. I was never successful at setting it up. I inherited it from my uncle.
I have two of the silly things, and like I say, my layout has 3 trains and a trolley on it right now, so I've got a couple of different things that I could hook them up to, but I wasn't really sure whether they were worth hooking up, or is that all they really were, was just taking the place of the direction switch on the ZW transformer, just the momentary, you know, brake type switch, the way the ZW transformer works, or is it doing something else that I'm unaware of? It's got 3 terminals. And the microphone, which obviously probably does nothing, but you get to talk into it as a little kid while you're pushing the button. And I think when you're pushing the button, you're doing the same thing as the direction button does on a ZW transformer. But I haven't dared try to hook it up yet because I didn't want to like blow anything up or short out my transformers.
But let me go to the other room and see if there's instructions in my box.
Okay, while he's searching over there, maybe I'll ask Michael because he's shown some computer prowess. I eliminated the landline from our house because we weren't really getting any phone calls from anybody anymore, except garbage.
Right.
But I still have
Oh, 1401.
my train telephone.
I got that too.
And I'm like, is there a way that I could maybe, is there some sort of interface to from a DTMF landline phone, like into my PC or something, so that I could maybe make phone calls over the internet with it, so that it at least, I mean, it did work, you know, and made all the chug, chug, choo, choo noises when the phone rang, and it made outgoing calls, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
sound
I
quality-
used to have one in my office, which was a great conversation starter.
Right. But
No, I don't know.
I don't know what to
if
do with it
any-
now. Now that I don't have a landline, I don't know what to do with it other than just put it on the side of the train set so that it's just sitting there. It's sort of kind of quasi O gauge.
The only thing I know about is that the cell phone companies will sell you a box or rent you a box that you can plug the end of your landlines into instead of where it used to go on out the door, so that all of the landlines become attached to your cell phone.
Oh,
And then
to your
all the
cell phone.
And then
Okay.
all the cell phones, all the landlines in the house will become extensions of your cell phone.
Interesting. All right.
But you may be talking $25, $30, $40 a month for that box.
Ooh.
Yeah, they don't give anything away cheap.
No.
But that's the only piece that I know.
All right. So it may just now wind up being a decoration until.
Yeah, I haven't seen a landline to USB connector.
That's what I was thinking there might be, or something like that.
I've never seen one. I'll look for it, but I've never seen one. Because I still have a landline, but I got a lot of useless telephones.
Yep. Or I was even thinking, you know, I haven't looked into it that much. I don't know if you can look up a schematic for the silly thing, but I mean, it's a ringer. So if it takes the same kind of like ring down voltage, which I think is like a 20 hertz signal at some voltage that, I don't know, I'm sure you could look it up somewhere, that I could rig something up to it so that I could just push a button and make it ring, you know, just to make the train noises come out of it. Even if it's just going to sit next to my layout, you know, I could make it make train noises or something.
Yeah, you could do that. You'd have to look up what the voltage was. When it had a physical bell, then it was real easy. You put the bell in series with a 60-watt bulb and plugged it into the wall, and the bell would ring.
Yeah, for an old phone with a bell in it. Yeah, but
Yeah,
this
with a
has
real
got
bell.
some.
But this has got solid-state electronics. I'd be afraid to do that. I think it's
Exactly.
Yeah, you'd have to look it up.
All right. So those are my two oddball things that I haven't been able to figure out yet. Is
No, not at all.
how I can use my old phone, my old telephone, and how I can hook up my audio engineers.
I'll have to look into that because I have one of those old phones and I'd love to make it ring.
Yeah.
I have exactly the same one.
Well, I see a piece of paper in Jeff's hand.
Now, so this is apparently the supplement that came with it, and it does refer to instructions. So I have to go underneath the train table and see if I can find anything there, or I'll do a search on the internet and see if I can find anything that goes with it. It's a Lewis Marks device.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out if it was Lionel, if it was Marks, if it was, I don't know what kind of train it was made, because the only things on the box, again, it says it's the audio engineer, and it says that it's got a General Electric marking on it, and it's got this thing that says manufactured by Electro-Nuclear Devices of New York, but it doesn't have like the name or the model of any kind of train set on it. So I had no idea if it was potentially licensed or approved, or if there was something on it that would, if Lionel or somebody would say, if you hook this up to our trains, you're on your own. But,
Have you got a continuity checker, a meter with batteries?
Yep.
You want to? That's not going to hurt anything. That's 15. That's a flashlight battery is inside. Hook it up to 2 of the 3 and start pushing buttons and see what it does.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's hard to see, but the way they're labeled, it looks like one says one terminal has a letter U, another terminal has the letter T, and another terminal has the letter A.
U is probably the common.
Yeah.
So I put my continuity checker between U and A and U and T, and start pressing buttons and see when you get continuity. Then at least
Maybe
you'll know what the on-off switch is.
Maybe T stands for train and A stands for accessory or something like that. I have no idea. It's pretty weird. I thought it was funny because it's, an audio engineer.
No, I'll bet if you put power between A and U, and then the train goes between T, train, and U, the common.
So where does A go?
A goes to transformer and U goes to transformer.
Okay, and then
And then
T.
you put T to the train and the transformer.
Gotcha.
Now that could be wrong. That's just a guess.
Well, I know. That's,
that's how Lionel would have marked it.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that Marx did the same thing.
Right.
So while you were talking here, I did a search on the internet, audio engineer Marx, which didn't show me much except for somebody had it on eBay. But then I clicked on images, and in the images, the instruction manual is there. So
okay, so that's the missing link that I've learned about then, because I didn't know. I'll do audio engineer Marx.
M-A-R-X.
Yep. And then there'll be an eBay ad and it'll have pictures of a manual.
Well, no. So ignore the eBay ad.
Okay.
Instead of the web all thing, click on the images as part of the search.
Oh yeah, images. Okay. Yep.
And then
all right.
Squirt over, and there's the instruction manual, such as it is.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry I got to pull the plug a few minutes early here, but I'm now going to be a little bit late for the next meeting that I have. But this was great, and I look forward to the next one. I will be here.
Okie dokie.
All right, thank you.
Good to see you.
Yep.
Good. So Jeff, you said you had a GG1 that has a problem?
Yep. So let me turn this on for a second here. So you get an image of that?
No, I can see it's you.
You know what? I think I have.
Oh yeah, I got it. You got to talk through it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll come a little closer here so I can get in the same thing. So I acquired this a while ago, and it just sort of sat on the shelf because I've got a lot of idle time here. I didn't even put it on the track to try it. And then when I put it on the track, what I discovered was power. Let me turn this over here. Is the engine, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it on a little screen.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Oh, that's better. I just changed screens.
Yeah.
Got it. I see it.
So I'll put the testers on it, and so that's the dead side. Hold on, let me change.
Yeah, but it's not dead.
So I've got continuity that's going.
Hey, what to do with it?
Okay, so
You got continuity. You got continuity. It's going. It's making noise, but it's not turning.
this, my left side, your right side, this does cause the wheels to turn. You can see those sparks. Probably difficult, but if I try the other side, I still just simply get the wheels on the left side to do. So the wheels
Okay.
turning. So what that tells me is that even though I've got continuity all over the place, there's got to be a brake someplace going to the right side. Motor.
Okay. On the side that doesn't turn, when
Right.
you put current, does it look like it's trying to turn?
No, it says, I've been sitting in the box on somebody's shelf for years.
Yeah, but the one motor turns. Does the other one look like it's trying to turn?
I don't see any. No,
Because because it could be one of two things. Both motors are wired in parallel. So the wiring should be exactly the same from the motor that works to the motor that doesn't work.
Yep.
So there may be a missing, got to solder it back on, but where you put it is identically to the one on the other side.
Okay.
Now, the other possibility is because it's been on the shelf for so long that the grease at the bottom of the motor where it goes into the gears
Yeah.
is now frozen up. You got to take the motor off
Yep.
and clean out the grease down there and then put fresh grease in.
Yep. All right. Well, I will try that for next week.
But you can, since one side works, both sides should be wired identically. So you don't need a schematic. You don't have to figure it out. If there's a wire in one, there should be a wire on the other.
Yeah.
And if they're all lined up and everything is perfect, maybe put a meter on it just to be sure you got continuity. Then it may very well be that the problem is that the grease in one is solidified.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how many. Now, my latest trick for ungreasing it
Okay.
is I take the motor out